Welcome back to the channel. The Australian 20-cent coin has long been a staple of everyday life, and the 1978 issue is no exception. This coin, part of the first series of decimal coinage introduced in 1966, carried with it not only monetary value but also the story of a nation's culture, wildlife, and economic history. When found today in circulated condition, the 1978 20-cent coin offers us a glimpse into decades of use, handling, and human connection. Australia made the switch to decimal currency in 1966, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system with dollars and cents. The 20-cent coin became one of the largest coins in the new system, both in terms of size and usage. By 1978, Australians were fully accustomed to this decimal system, and the coin was an everyday necessity for purchases ranging from groceries to transport fares. The 1978 coin was minted at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, which had been producing coins for little more than a decade at that time. It was struck in copper-nickel, an alloy of copper and nickel that gave it a bright silvery shine when new. But over time, circulation has altered that appearance, leaving behind shades of gray, darker patches, and even colorful toning from years of handling. On the reverse side of the coin, we find one of Australia's most beloved native animals, the platypus. Designed by master engraver Stuart Devlin, the platypus is shown swimming with fluid ripples around its body. In circulated condition, the details of its fur and the water may appear softened, with the raised features worn down from decades of use. Yet, the platypus still stands out as a proud emblem of Australia's natural world. The obverse side of the coin in 1978 bore the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Arnold Machin. This was the second official effigy of the Queen to appear on Australian coinage, first introduced in 1966. In circulated examples, her profile often shows clear signs of wear. The finer details of the crown and facial features may appear smoothed, yet the familiar image still remains instantly recognizable. In its uncirculated state, the coin weighed 11.3 grams and measured 28.65 millimeters in diameter. It had a milled or reeded edge, which was designed to help deter counterfeiting and to give users a tactile way to distinguish it from smooth-edged coins. A circulated 1978 coin will often show wear along these edges, with the reading less sharp or partially faded. The color of a circulated 1978 20-cent coin tells its own story. Copper-nickel naturally dulls with time, especially after years of exposure to oils from hands, pockets, purses, and even environmental conditions. Some coins display a soft gray tone, while others develop darker patches or rainbow-like hues known as toning. Each piece is unique, shaped by its journey through thousands of transactions. For everyday Australians in 1978, the 20-cent coin was more than just change. It was a practical tool. It could pay for a bus ride, a school lunch, or a newspaper. Many people carried a handful of these coins in their wallets or pockets, and so they became objects of constant contact, their surfaces polished by everyday life. Collectors today often note the difference between pristine mint-state examples and heavily circulated ones. While high-grade coins are more desirable in terms of value, circulated coins carry a character that cannot be replicated. The smoothness of the platypus, the softened lines of the Queen, and the subtle colors all speak of long service in the hands of the public. Examining a circulated 1978 20-cent coin, you may notice scratches, nicks, or dents on the surface. These marks are part of the coin's life story. A scratch might have come from jingling in a pocket with keys, while a dent could be the result of being dropped on a hard floor. These imperfections give each coin individuality. The mintage of the 1978 20-cent coin was significant, as coins were being produced in the millions to meet the needs of a growing population. This abundance means that today, circulated examples are relatively common and not considered rare. However, the condition makes a big difference in collectibility, and circulated coins are valued more for their history than their market price. The platypus design itself adds to the charm of the coin. Even in circulated form, it remains a strong image. Australians instantly recognize the animal as part of their national identity. Children in the 1970s and 1980s would have grown up seeing this coin nearly every day, making it a familiar friend in the palm of their hands. Collectors often enjoy looking closely at circulated coins to study how the wear patterns differ. On some 1978 coins, the Queen's effigy may be worn more heavily on the hair and crown, while on others, the platypus's body shows the greatest fading. Such variations depend on how each coin circulated and what kind of handling it endured. The journey of a single coin is almost impossible to trace, yet fascinating to imagine. A 1978 20-cent coin may have once been used at a corner milk bar, then found its way into a payphone, later passed through the hands of schoolchildren, and decades later ended up in a collector's jar. Each exchange left subtle imprints on its surface. The wear on a circulated coin also shows how designs hold up over time. Stuart Devlin's platypus design remains identifiable even after decades of use, proving its strength as both an artistic and practical choice. This resilience is one reason the 20-cent coin design has never been changed in Australia's decimal history. Some circulated coins also develop what collectors call patina. This is a natural layer that builds on the surface, often giving the coin a darker or more matte finish. A 1978 coin with such a patina may look older than it really is, but this surface change actually protects the metal underneath. When compared to today's coins, the 1978 issue feels a bit more solid and substantial. Modern coins around the world are often smaller and lighter due to changes in metal composition and cost-saving measures. The 20-cent coin of the late 1970s carries the weight and presence of a coin designed to last. For many Australians, finding a 1978 coin in their change today can be a nostalgic moment. It may remind them of their childhood, their parents, or the prices of goods from decades past. The circulated condition only adds to that sense of time past, as it clearly shows that the coin has been part of countless lives. While not highly valuable in a collector's market, circulated 1978 20-cent coins are valued sentimentally. They connect us to a particular year in Australian history, one marked by cultural events, economic changes, and everyday stories. The coin becomes a small but meaningful time capsule. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on this coin also represents a historical snapshot. In 1978, she was still in the earlier decades of her reign, and her youthful image on the coin contrasts with later portraits introduced in subsequent decades. Circulated wear makes the portrait softer, almost blending past and present. Collectors often keep circulated coins as part of a year set, where they gather all denominations from a single year. A 1978 year set in circulated condition captures a genuine sense of what money in people's hands looked like at that time. It shows history not in a museum shine, but in the honest marks of daily life. Ultimately, the 1978 20-cent coin in circulated condition reminds us that money is not just about value, it is about connection.